Dear trucking friends, great news from Moza once again. After the release of this amazing TSW wheel, they're at it again. The Truck Driving Simulator Trucking Bundle. That's right, it was only natural to pair up all of these components into a trucking bundle. The folks at Moza were kind enough to send me this bundle for review. So what's inside? We get the R5 wheelbase with the 5.5 Newton meters of power. We get the SRP light pedals, the TSW steering wheel, and of course the mounting bracket. Additionally, we would have loved to get the stalks included, but they're not. They are highly suggested by Moza, but they will not be included at launch. I have personally reviewed these units and I highly recommend it. Please check out my channel for that review. So let me take you through what's inside the box, the assembly, and obviously driving impressions. But before that, let's quickly talk about pricing. As you can see, at launch on November 7th, 2024, US pricing will be $549 USD, European pricing would be at $599, British pound $549, Australian dollar at $999, and Japanese yen at 88,390 yen. A considerable savings compared to buying all of these items by themselves. So I've been fortunate enough to review a couple Moza bundles and products. And it's always a joy to open these boxes because everything is packed immaculately and everything is hyper protected. The first thing that greets you are these instructions and of course stickers. The stickers are for the TSW wheel. This is an authentic truck sim wheel. We're talking about 400mm diameter that offers precision handling and ergonomics to capture that true feel of driving a truck. Its backlit buttons and RPM LEDs enhance realism and in-game feedback. Furthermore, you can actually change the color of every single button LED, and we'll show you that in a little bit. The wheel itself feels really high quality. As you can see, it's got perforated vinyl as well as regular vinyl. Everything is stitched perfectly, and it has all of these beautiful silver details. Of course, you will get the power brick and all of the other cables required. At every level of this box, you'll find a couple pouches of screws, and each pouch is associated with either the wheelbase, the pedals, or the brackets themselves. Now, moving on to the base. Some of you are pretty familiar with this, at least you've seen it in pictures if you haven't bought it yourself. I have done a review of this bundle before, and yeah, what is there to say? This is a very high quality direct drive wheel encased in a metal casing with a plastic backing. Moving on to the pedals, all metal construction, really solid feeling, and the best part of this, that they are modular. So in this kit, we will get a brake and a throttle, but you can easily add the clutch later separately on the Moza website. As you can see, they all have an RJ12 cable that connects them together. Further down in the box, of course, you will get the TSW mounting bracket, which alone costs quite a bit of money to buy. So I do know that most of you do not have an aluminum rig. A lot of us obsessed YouTubers and sim racers have really dumped all of our savings into custom rigs that require custom solutions. But most of you will probably attach this to some sort of a table. So I chose this little TV stand that I have, excuse the scratches and the dust on it, to try to replicate what you guys would have to go through. And I think that's super important. You will get the base, to which you will screw the R5, and you will get 2 clamps. These additional brackets allow for the wheelbase to swivel up to 75 degrees if I remember correctly. You will get a lot of hardware, and it will seem a little bit daunting, but fear not, all of this goes together just as planned. So I found that the easiest way to put this together is to assemble the whole bracket together. There are instructions that come with this, but personally I've done this before because I've done this review and I actually own this gear, so it was really easy for me to remember how to put it together. Again, lots of screws and lots of nuts and bolts, but you know, they add up and everything kind of goes together pretty well. And of course, this is not complete until we plug in that amazing TSW wheel. And I think you're ready to go trucking. Now, again, this was just mocked up for you guys to see what it would be like to mount to a table. I personally have it mounted to a rig. So let's go to that and let's talk about first driving impressions. The first thing I want to talk about is what really stands out when you're looking at the steering wheel. I mean, every single button has its own LED light, and what's really cool about it, that inside Moza Pit House, you can assign every single button a specific color, and I think that's super cool. Because imagine when we're driving, yes, you start to memorize the location of these switches, but at a quick glance, that color makes a huge difference on where you put your finger. And we all know how precise truck driving has to be. Of course, I'm being funny. Anyways, listen, this type of attention to detail is always welcome, and that's what I think Moza is really known for. The pedals themselves are very sturdy, and they react just as you would expect. Yes, there are more expensive pedals out there, but just like any gear, you can always spend more and more money. These are absolutely awesome as an entry-level set of pedals. But if you're wondering, what does this feel like? Well, you know, we're talking about 5.5 Newton meters of torque, which is a little bit higher than the 5 Newton meters found on the Fanatec. I do consider this an entry-level steering wheel, but it is a direct drive wheel, so it does have a lot more accuracy than belt-driven wheels. And, you know, I venture to say it's probably a lot more accurate and better feeling than the Hori. I know, that has to be brought up, right? Hori has just come out with a trucking bundle, so everyone's wondering, how does this compare next to it? I don't think this is a direct comparison because it is missing some of the items like the shifter and the button box. But you have to understand that this gear is a lot more premium, starting with the steering wheel and, again, as I mentioned, the direct drive wheelbase itself. If you were to ask me, I didn't get paid by Moza and I'm not sponsored by them, I would definitely pick this over the Hori. Now, Hori, if you're listening, I'm glad to change my mind if you want to send a review bundle over to me. I'll be fair, just as I've been to Moza, and put the two head to head. As of right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm putting all my money. I would highly suggest getting this bundle. Because as I mentioned, just pairing this together piece by piece is going to add up to a lot more than $550. The bracket itself, as I showed, is pretty easy and modular, and it is pretty novel in the way it allows you to face the steering wheel upwards instead of at your face. Lastly, as you can see in my videos, I also have the turnstocks, and if you're interested in that review, you can check the link below. There's not much more to say about this whole ecosystem in this bundle. I think this is definitely a must-have. This is definitely a must-buy. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them below, and I'll answer as much as I can. Happy trucking, boys!